is Max Farrell. This is the Dex Network. This is the Go Dex webinar, if you will. Tonight's going to be a very special webinar that I was just telling everybody prior to the webinar in the questions and answers phase. That tonight's webinar is really about what's about to happen with the company, what we're physically doing. We've been away, or I have been away for a little bit. I'm joined tonight by one of our trusted partners and very trusted friend, Mike Ficca. Welcome, Mike.
Good evening, everyone.
So, Mike, I have been, as you know, I've been moving since, I guess, what, 2 weeks now? It's been 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks?
Yeah.
And it has been absolutely crazy moving from New Hampshire to PA, but I had to put together a process to be closer to family. And now that I have my office up and everything seems to be working okay, we wanted to immediately get into getting back into doing the webinars. Now, as you know, Mike, we have been now working on a few different strategies, a few different things with the 5-minute MDM system over at Dex Indicators, 5-minute MDM WB, which is the web-based platform over at Dex Trader. We've been working on Dex Signals, Dex Trader Network, the Dex Effects Network, all the great things. And it's getting better every single day. I'm so excited.
Mm-hmm.
So have you, I know, it has been absolutely crazy. What we did today, and getting back into the mix of things, because Brian and Amy and Mike and Paul and Thor and all these people, our support, the people that are here to help and build the company, have worked so hard just to maintain and keep us going while I was away. Not that I am the begin and end all of everything, but we weren't doing webinars. We weren't doing a lot of major consults. Mike was handling all the consults for the main MDM systems and for the rest of the company. And I just said, survive the 2 weeks. And when I come back, we're going to get, some big things are going to happen. My grandfather told me a long time ago that the idea stream runs above everybody's head. And every once in a while, somebody will reach up with a spoon and grab an idea, and they got something good for their lives. Unfortunately, I walk around with a wheelbarrow every day, and it's very difficult. I have Amy who can kind of keep me from building too many things, and I have Mike Ficca who kind of will help me. He'll feed me some ideas, and then we'll build them together. But he's a perfect bouncing board, if you will, of brainstorming with me. And of course, I had my brother who is always in constant support of me wanting to build, because then we get bigger and bigger and bigger, and that's what has happened now. Most companies will try to feed you as much as they can to keep you distracted away from what their systems aren't working. We already have 4 or 5 major systems that work, and why I know that they work, whether or not some of them have worked for you or not just yet, I know that they work because we have hundreds of people in this network, and there's a majority of them that do the dailies, and there's a majority of them that do the SR maxes. Some do the intradays, some do the NA intradays. We have one gentleman who does nothing but dailies, and he is just as boring as I am when they do them. He says he shuts everything off. He just closes his eyes. He pushes, he puts his information. He closes his eyes. He sits in his chair. Sometimes he wakes up for the end. Sometimes he doesn't. He said, but that's his day. He trades 4 or 5 times a day. He makes a couple $1,000, and he calls it the time. Oh, before anybody yells at me, hang on one second. Earnings and risk disclaimer. Educational and trade assistance only, and all results may vary. You can pause the video if you like and read all that stuff, but I'm not going to right now. Okay, so I want to talk to you before we get started about what we are basically going to talk about today, because I want you to have a little idea that you're not just here to listen to me ramble on and ask Mike a question every once in a while, but we're going to talk about a little bit about the history of Dex and why we are doing what we're doing. We're going to talk about the switch, which you'll find out what that means here in just a moment. The Dex Effect system, which before this video started, maybe some of you weren't here, I gave a sneak peek of what the Dex Effects results were for just today in the system. 209 pips. Yes, I know. I said that. 209 pips for over 2 sessions. The London session and the U.S. session, 209 pips. Yeah, not too bad, right? Okay, we're going to talk about spreads on Nadex. We're going to talk about making it happen. It's a little vague, I know, but there's some things that I want to kind of hide behind that until we're ready to talk about it. And of course, our elite and our senior networks that we're building for all of you as well. I also wanted you to know, as the owner of the company, and as Mike is a partner of the company who's earned his way. Mike didn't meet with us in the very beginning. He was a customer that came to us, became a member, became an investor with his time, became a partner. And that took him about 4 months to do, but he worked his ass off to do it. Should take an average person about a year to do what he'd done in 4 months. But because he's a monster and his integrity was there, and his transparency and his honesty is top notch, he's made what he's made now. Now he has the opportunity, and is very close to being a multimillionaire. And this process here will now begins to work with just about anybody who wants to take these things to the next level. And my promise to you as an owner, and Mike as a partner, is that if one man can do it, one person can do it, so can others. We have many people in our network building a life with Dex. We now need to find out what works and what doesn't work, and how do we do that? We have to progress. Mike, do you think that trial that you went through, that the tribulations that you went through with losing money and being ripped off and finding out what didn't work, did that help you at all?
Oh, immensely. It took me a while to find Dex, but when I did, everything that I wanted to know and everything that I wanted to learn, you took care of in this company, which is fantastic. And now we've made it light years better than even six months ago.
And why do you think that is? Why do you think it's light years difference now?
You've taken suggestions from our, the investors. I mean, literally, if somebody came up with something, before you might not have thought it was relevant, but if enough people come to you and say, Max, I think we should put a news source on this particular thing, or can you do this in another part of the company, and now you consider it and really make it happen, which wasn't the case in August and September when I first started.
Well, it was the case that I would listen. I mean, I did listen.
Oh, always. Right? No, but, always. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it like that.
Yeah, that's right. But it was that we didn't always have the opportunity because we weren't getting a lot of feedbacks. Most people would come and sort of kick their feet into the pool of learning and then sort of either stay or go and suffer.
I must have been the thorn in your side.
No, actually there's quite a bit of thorns, if you want to put it that way. But it's like me jumping into a rose bush. But it's like it's okay, because what I had to learn was how to deal with people. Listen, we made a promise back in March of last year that we had suffered through a very bad relationship with a company prior to, and learned from some very terrible mistakes that we made. I'm not kidding you, horrible mistakes. And we didn't want to repeat those. So in March of last year, we said we were going to focus on the customer and the investor, the people that were taking their time, spending their hard-earned money to be with us, and we were going to listen. And that's where it really comes down to, is being able to listen. I want to skip ahead to this, into this part. In order to advance, you must be willing to listen. But once you're willing to listen, you must be able to actually hear what is being said. And this is where most companies will fail, is that they don't truly hear their customers. They listen to them, but they don't hear them. And what I mean by the difference between the two is that you can hear a customer complain and call it a complaint, but I hear a customer complain and see it as an opportunity. Because with each complaint becomes a source to be able to find out what can we do to make it better. And I've learned to listen to complaints and being able to siphon out the bullshit about the complaint, if it just being maybe, picky, like, why does it ringtone in that particular sound? Or, hey, can it be orange instead of green? Or things like that, the things that I know that don't really make a difference in your learning. And then also begins to change some of my own mentalities of what I like it to see it or how I can be trained, and knowing that there's other people that might train differently. So there are certain things that I can hear on how people will talk to us and how they'll respond to us. And we have gotten wonderful feedback, exiting feedback as well as during the process feedback. You know, how many people are sort of not going through all the training? We can see that. How many people are skipping certain things? We can see that. So it's just not listening to what customers say, it's watching what they do. It's watching the development of how you, as a consumer, work through the network. And why this is so important for a company is that as we built Dex Signals, the original DexSignals.com was built just to give you signals. That was it. It wasn't about customer service. It wasn't about training. There was like 4 training videos on the very first Dex Signals. There was like 4 trainings videos, and they were okay. You know, they were about 30 minutes a piece. One was an hour and a half, and because I was taught by training of Forex by some people that had some bad speech impediments and had 2.5-hour videos. You know, and there was 30 or 40 of them, and you couldn't go to the next one without watching the last whole 2.5-hour video. And so it was terrible. So the first person I listened to when I was building Dex Signals was me. What I didn't like about the market, what I couldn't stand about training. So I built it in what I liked to see. But then as I began to build to provide this process, I started to listen to other customers and other investors. Now, our primary focus with the first Dex Signals was with Nadex and deliberating a signal that was going to be used for the Nadex.com system. And it still is the primary focus as of right now. But very shortly, there is some part of the processes that are going to deliberate into the Forex.com Forex network. You know, from different brokers to exchanges that we're going to start developing relationships with. MBD Trading or MB Trading, Forex.com, Gain Capital, which is Forex.com basically. And these relationships that we're building, these systems that we're building, are all done with the same intent like we did with Nadex, not to jump into an affiliation bed with them to get money, but to build a network that you can trust and see the transparency that we're telling you that this company is good, not because we're being paid to do so, but because that we are doing and making money with them, not from them, but using their systems to make money. And therefore, the results that we're giving you are untainted. Does that make sense? I spoke to a customer today in chat, and even then later he called me on the phone, and he's asking me questions, and he says, well, give me your affiliate link for Nadex. And I said, I don't have one. And he goes, well, I'll tell them you sent me, and they'll give you a kickback of like 50 or 60 bucks or something, don't they? And I said, well, we don't take kickbacks from Nadex. And he goes, well, I would trust you if you did. Even if you did do it, I'd still trust you if you took it. I was like, yeah, but see, the thing is that if we take a kickback from any exchange network that we're giving you signals for, where does that trust begin and end? Even in the very beginning, if you didn't know me, if you got here tonight, tonight's your first night. If anybody's first night tonight, they've never met me before and they've never heard of one of the webinars, say new in the network, in the chat in there. But even if you're here and you don't really understand, you know, some of the things we're going over right now, that's okay. But the process is that if you get here first and you hear me say Forex.com or Nadex.com is a great company to work with, and we're being paid that if you go to Nadex.com and get an account, how can you trust that I'm actually saying, hey, it's a good product? Because I'm getting a kickback from it. But if we're not getting a kickback, right? Does this make sense to you, Mike? I mean, because
yes, absolutely.
It's
like I wouldn't trust this,
right? You know, I wouldn't trust us if we came back out and said that. You know, if anybody ever told me go get a kickback and do this, I'd laugh in their face.
That just brings me back to overseas trading. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
It leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
Oh yeah, and I can say this name out there. I won't even write it out and put it in bold. Michael Freeman. And I'm not here to bad anybody, right? I'm not here to bash anybody in the face. But listen, this is the same thing I've seen. I've seen review sites out there after review sites about Michael Freeman and how great his signals are and how bad everybody else's stuff is. And then to find out, and this, I was very disappointed because I really enjoyed talking to Michael Freeman in the very beginning and hearing some of his things because I thought he was really out for some people here. And I was watching this binary bulldog watchdog thing, whatever it was, and I was watching this website and I was like really happy about this website because they were really out trying to help the people. And it says, you know, don't trust this company and don't trust that company. And but you can trust this person who's Michael Freeman. I'm like, all right, this independent review site pushed, and how naive I was. How naive was when I got there, find out, and because I did a little investigating on the binary watchdog group, and it all turned out to be Michael Freeman's review sites.
Oh,
and he built them all so he can review his own, give negative reviews and retorts on other companies to push people into his. Now, how can you trust somebody on either side of it to be able to give a review? And that's the tough part, that they're getting paid on one side or another. Don't trust that signals network because trust this person, but it turns out to be that's their network. So that's why we really stayed true to not providing a affiliation or getting affiliate from any of these companies. But doesn't stop companies from requesting us to try to join them, and they want to send us buckets of money to do this stuff. I kid you not, we do actually have to deny these people. And it's sometimes that we look at that money and we go, holy crap, that's a lot of money. But where does our integrity stand by? And that's what we really have to kind of look at here. All right, so back on track again. DexSignals.com. We built this primary focus around Nadex, but we're jumping into Forex. Systems are also jumping into Forex, as well as, and we'll cover this in a little bit, we're going to be talking about spreads, right? Because we're talking mostly about binaries with Nadex.com. And whew, my God, once we have that down, we're also looking to see if the algorithms will work with, guess what? Indices and commodities. That's right, futures, people. We're talking that the market moves because of human intervention. So if they can work on Forex, they might be able to work on these, but we just need data. Okay. So here's what's happening. We built DexSignals.com with that intent. We needed something more robust, so we built Dex Trader because Dex Signals was sort of keyholing us into just signals, right? People who are just wanting signals were coming to Dex Signals. But people who wanted to learn how to be a trader, learn how to be more proficient, learn Forex, learn the network, learn how to use Thinkorswim, learn all these other programs, they were missing us because they just saw the word signals and didn't want to be a part of us. So we built DexTrader.com. But Dex Signals provides the signals for DexTrader.com. So it's sort of like one and the same. But Dex Trader has a little bit more. It has the data processing center. It has some web-based charting factors. Got a little bit different training platform. Okay. We also built DexIndicators.net for the same reason, is because we were getting keyholed into the fact that people wanted to have a trading network, but they wanted indicators. So we made DexIndicators.net. So between the three, we were okay for a while, but then people started to sort of lose the sight of what Dex Signals really was. So what we've decided to do is that we're going to sort of pull back a little bit on Dex Signals. And everybody is going to, that is in Dex Signals right now, going to be transferred over. You're going to get a free account over in Dex Trader. We're going to make it a lifetime account in the Dex Trader network, as long as you have a Dex Signals network. If you're already a Dex Signals member and you're watching this or you're in the room, don't worry. You're going to be okay. We're just going to show you how to go over, and you'll get a free account over Dex Trader. Everything will be typed in. As long as you keep your payment system going from Dex Signals, it's all going to be, you're not going to have to go cancel anything and go get another one or anything else. It's all going to be nice and easy just like that. Okay, and we'll send you out an email exactly to what to do with a step-by-step and a couple of gifts. Now, the biggest gift you're going to get if you're already a current customer is that you're not going to have to pay the extra costs for all the stuff in Dex Trader. And you're going to get it all in there. It's amazing, right? You paid for Dex Signals, you're going to get it all. The price you're going to stay at is going to stay at forever. So if you're $73 from when we first started, holy crap, you got a hell of a deal, right? Remember those days? It was like $73. I think Amy's in there. She remembers those days. Mike, I think you were like around 97 when you first started, right?
Yes.
Now we're up to $247. So go figure. Yeah, but don't let that number scare you. There's some great coupons and things we're going to give you here at Dex Save 50 and a few other things. Possibly, I think there's some stuff that went out. I think Amy will have something by the end of the webinar that we can put out as well. I can write on the board. But listen, Dex Trader is going to take on the responsibility of delivering signals for Dex Signals, but Dex Signals is still a very powerful website. So it's going to stay there. It's going to still draw in people, but it's going to transfer those people via the Get Started button over to Dex Trader with a little hey, how you doing kind of process. And that's the way things are going to be. So what's going to happen, the Dex Trader is going to move over, but what are we adding to the Dex Trader network what are we adding to the Dex Trader network with some of the solutions in mind? And the biggest one is the Forex signals and Forex training, educational training. You have to keep that in mind. By the lawyers will have a field day with this one, but it's only for education. But we're going to show you how to trade this and how to use this process, and you can use the signals to help you educate you on a direction, right? Because that's the big thing. You can use a signal to trade with, but only as an education for direction. But it's still, you have to set the stop loss. You have to set the when you take your profit. You have to pay attention to these things. It's your responsibility, right? We're not making an EA for you. We're not trading for you. We're not doing any of that stuff for you. But those things in there, these are going to be coming over the next 2 weeks. The Forex signal is going to be live in this process. In fact, it's already sort of live. I have it hidden. It'll be a part of the DPC, the Data Processing Center. It'll be a part of a signal packet that'll be in the network. We're still trying to contemplate whether or not this is going to be all a part of the Dex Trader network, or if we have to legally make it a different platform itself. So we're keeping that in mind. Still will be on Dex Trader, but it'll probably have to be separate for the legality of it. Now, why is this Forex signals and training so very important? Because a spread on Nadex acts in the same mentality, sort of, as a Forex signal, where coming from the current price, if it's going down from a particular within a particular group or a spread, each pip it moves can kind of create itself as a dollar. If you have multiple contracts, each contract consists of an extra dollar on that, so there's a tremendous amount of opportunity. So if you grab a ceiling price on a down signal, and you're grabbing it at that direction, for every pip it goes down, you're making money. But during this expiry, if it happens to go up and go out of that, you only lost on how much you got in from the current to the ceiling. You don't lose the rest of this. And this is why we really like the spreads on Dex. But they have some nuances. Okay, they have some bid-ask spread, bid-offer spread variances in here that you got to be very careful of. You can sort of mostly break even or lose money if you're not careful. But if you do lose, you're not going to lose very much. The amount to get into a spread is a little bit more. The upfront money to get in for a spread is a little bit more. But the overall loss compared to a binary is minimal if you do it right. And that's what we're going to train you. We're going to train you on how to do it right. We're going to give you the easy and simple applications on how to do this process. And we're going to show you in our easy ways of trading with the webinars and with the videos that we do on how to trade this process. Now, I'm not saying you're going to make 209 pips per every day in the process like I did. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Like I did here at 70.5% of the times, or 70.5, yeah, 50. But in this period, in these 2 periods of sessions from 12 o'clock in the morning, or yeah, so midnight. Because this for me is an EA that I developed to use our signal, which we won't be putting out to the world until we get regulated on this process. But it made for the New York session 132 pips, and for the London session it made 77 pips. Not as much, but our ratio for the London session was a hell of a lot better than it was because there's a lot more signals in the process. And this was a pretty bad day happening with this type of intraday signal. It's pretty bad. This is actually a bad day. Can anybody laugh about that? But that's actually a bad day.
And still up that money.
And still right up that money.
That many pips.
Yeah. Now I want you to look at this column right here. This column is very important because this is the column overall of the overall success for each pair. I want you to look at things like the British Gold Pound JPY at 92.7%, 93.6 for the Audi JPY. These ain't, I'm not joking around with these. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to get this every day. You're not going to, these are overall all the trades, all the process, but there are tremendous amounts of opportunity when you are trading. You're not going to get, there's not like super pips here. You're not getting 50 and 60 pips here, right? The biggest one here was 30, but this one, again, I'm using time. And let me show you how that works here, right? For the most part, when most Forex companies give you a signal, or anybody gives you a signal, They give you the signal. They might give you a stop loss, right? Which is usually set to an R value from the current price, right? So you have the stop loss, you have a current price. I'm sorry, my little writer thing is not unpacked yet, so I do apologize. And they give you a TP called a take profit, right? So if the difference between the stop loss in here is about 10 pips or 20 pips, they might give you an R value of 1-to-1, right? And make you take it within 10 pips of there, right? This is called R value trading, right? If this is 20 pips, you might take it from 20 pips. If it's a R 2-to-1, you might have a 10 pip stop loss or 20 pip stop loss, and might have a 20 or 40 pip take profit. In this particular type of trading, using a stop loss from the current price and a take profit is a very smart strategy to have. It encapsulates everything into a box and gives you an opportunity. But guess what, folks? Those kind of things have a pattern to them, right? And the pattern is when that support and resistance, usually if I'm getting in and I'm calling for a down from right here at this point, and I say, all right, my take profit's here, but my stop loss is here, but my take profit's here. All the big corporate retail or non-retail traders, the big corporation traders, they know where that stuff is as well. So what we do is that we give you a stop loss to be able to use, but we've noticed that if we cut it off at a certain period of time, we're on the win side a lot more than we're on the loss, because like in this case, if it was a buy, our stop loss would be right around here. And usually what happens, there might be, if you let it go, it's going to do something like that and sometimes stop you out right around here, right? But with our time series, we know that within a certain period of time, from the time the signal does its thing, from one point to another, there's more opportunity of a chance of increase or decrease, depending if it's a sell or not. Right? So this part of the process is very unique. It's never been done to this level before. Nobody has ever, so far that I've been able to find, has said, all right, only keep that trade on for 1 hour exactly, or 45 minutes exactly. But that's what we're going to do. We're going to give you a system here to be able to do that. But also in spreads, there's a time feature in there as well. Now, the good part about it, there's no real stop loss in there. If you buy into the right spread, you could lose more than $20 or more than 20 pips in that process. But there's a certain, you'll know what that amount is. But if it goes supernova in the opposite direction, you're not going to lose above or below that floor ceiling that you get into. But you'll learn about a lot more of this stuff later. So the spread and using the signals and the training from that process is going to be very valuable to all of you, especially for those that are getting in and learning them for the first time. You're going to find that some of this stuff will work for you, some of it may not. Mike, have you had a chance to look at some of the spread systems yet?
You know what? I've been doing research on it, and I actually traded a few myself. It's interesting. I mean, I want to learn a lot more about it. I'm sure I don't know what I should know, but just as just getting in, being curious, and putting on trades, it's very interesting. Because you really don't lose. You're not going to lose a lot of money if you do lose, and you have a potential to win $200, $250 in some points.
Yeah, I mean, if it really takes off, and you're at this, and listen, if you're at the, because a spread has a floor and a ceiling, right? Mm-hmm. So if wherever the current price is, if it's in the middle, you got, and if it's a 200 pip spread, you have 100 pips up and 100 pips down, right? That you can either win 100 pips or lose 100 pips depending on which direction you're choosing. But if the current price is more towards the ceiling and you're use that to go down, then you may have a 20 pip this way and an 80 pip this way, right? So you might be able to win 80 pips going this way or lose 20 going this way. And that to me is a 4-to-1 opportunity. These are the ones you're really looking for. They're rare, not super rare, but there's maybe a little bit of extra movement this stuff needs to go through. So you're looking for higher movement times, like during the beginning of the London session and the U.S. session during news. So these things are very important. But here's the great part, is that you have such an opportunity to learn what these are. You're going to be trading in demos. You're going to be learning a lot of the nuances. You're going to be learning some of the indicators, a lot of the other tools. So it's very powerful. But that's only one solution. You got Forex, you got spreads, you got binaries, you got 5 minutes, you got dailies. You have so much inventory that you can do. If one thing doesn't work, I implore you to try many others. Okay. Dex Trader, for those of you that are customers right now, are going to be seeing some changes. Some of the big changes that you're going to see almost immediately are to the home pages. The member portals are going to change. The sales pages will change. The training networks are going to change a little bit. But don't worry. We're not going to push anything away where you can't find it. We always have customer service on board, and they're always there to help you. You also have availability to call. We have a phone number. We have an email. We got chat. We got, Mike, is there any other way we can actually have snail mail, whatever, right? What other way can we get people to contact us?
Carrier pigeon.
Carrier pigeon, right? Smoke signals.
Somebody's always there for you. I mean, you can always go in the chat rooms as well for the elite and senior traders to ask them questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, if you need an immediate response, and if for some reason the customer service is closed for a short period of time, because now we have Paul overnight. So if it's 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning, you'll be able to talk to Paul, which is great.
Yeah, absolutely. Because there's Paul in the London session. I'm in there early with a little bit of overlap with Paul, and then once Brian comes on and then Amy's there, and then it's sort of only a couple of hours from like 9 o'clock at night to like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And by then, you know what? I'm sorry, we can't be there 24/7 yet. Hey, maybe if you're a good customer service rep, anybody out there, and you want to make a couple extra bucks, let me know. We'd definitely be able to use you, but there's a lot of work to do to get into that point. A few other things that are going to be released with the Dex Trader network, as well as a few other things. The Dex Effects network and Dex Effects world, we're going to be providing some news in our creative viewpoints of how that news affects how markets in the world of trading, world of Forex, all that stuff. So we're going to keep it unbiased. We're going to keep it transparent. We're going to keep it, we're going to have you err on the side of caution when the market's getting fickle, when it's getting crazy. Sometimes the market has some unusual reasons why it changes direction the way it does. We don't have all the answers, but we're paying attention. We're collecting data. As you guys know, we're data hounds, and everything that we use, we try to use to our advantage to help all of you. Mike spoke about elite and senior traders in the room. We are now advancing with a new part of our process for elite seniors. We're going to have an application for you. We're going to have you follow some course. There's going to be some testing. There's going to be some journal verification. There's going to be a lot of stuff that you're going to receive as an elite and senior. Some special education from myself. You're going to learn more about business tactics, advertising, marketing, selling, all that stuff, how to create your business, how to work from home, all these things. These will be special series that you'll be able to take part in. They will be absolutely free to you. If you want to be a part of this company and be a part of this network, I believe in paying those, that trying to get you as much money as you possibly can use to build your business and build, because that's what this is. It's a business. If you don't see it that way, then that's probably some part of your problem along your trials and tribulations that you've been suffering. I don't want you to suffer. I want you to build. You build and you help us build. That's basically what it comes down to. At this point, Mike, do you have anything you want to add to the process of the welcome back webinar kind of thing?
No, it's actually good to be back. The trading room the chat room has been a little quiet since you've been gone. So welcome back, and I'm looking forward to seeing everybody back in the chat room.
Absolutely. Well, it's a chat room on the MDMs. It's chat rooms throughout the process, but also we're going to be making a lot more efforts in providing some more webinars for everybody, some automated webinars that you'll be able to go and join others to hear the values. Because for me to go out and do them live repetitively every single day is going to be very difficult for me. But I want to be able to help as many people as possible so you can start getting the ideas. So you'll be going through some of the process. Also with consults, you'll be able to meet with me at certain points of your journey. Now, I have to start making myself a little bit more exclusive, only because I have some senior traders now that are about to take on more responsibility with consults. Mike Fick is one of them, who's here with us tonight. And there's a handful of other people that I'm going to have start teaching and showing a little bit more of how they trade and their style of trading. And I want you to be able to meet with them as well first. But you have to have your training done. You have to have your journal on board. This is going to be a prerequisite for every member that wants to be elite or senior, as well as anybody that really wants to be successful. One, you better go through the training. Two, you better have a journal. And if you don't know how to use a journal, don't worry. We're going to show you that inside as well with the process. Now, before we head out, I don't have a coupon code for you, but I do know, I don't know if she's probably going to kick me in the butt. She's here. She's still at her son's track meet. But I want you to reach out to Amy at cs@dextrader.com, and she will help you she'll get you an answer pretty quickly. If you reach out to her, she'll get you an email or for a coupon for that Dex Trader network. But I want you to go to Dex Trader. Oh, there she goes. Dex Save 50 for $50 off your first month.
All
Dex
caps.
Save 50, all caps. Dex Save 50. You'll get $50 off your first month within the process. Now, if you're already a current member over at Dex Signals, don't worry. Go get a free account and let us know what it is, and we'll get you pumped over and all that kind of good stuff. But we can start that movement over. You'll be getting an email in the next couple of coming days with that process, but don't worry. The redundancy is okay. All right. Mike, I can't thank you enough for being here. For everybody else that's in the chat room, stick around for questions and answers. If you're watching the video right now, for those of you that are watching after the fact, I want to thank you for getting to this part of the video, because sometimes, it's hard to get through some of these videos, right? Because I blabber on forever. But I'm very excited about what we're building. For those of you that have watched this email or watched this video from either an email or on YouTube or what have you, I can't thank you enough for being here. And I really do hope to see you inside. And as always, trade well. I'll see you in the next one. Mike, thanks for being here. Everybody else, take care. We'll talk to everybody in the room here for questions and answers afterwards. For everybody else, trade well.